Chapter 371, Eldest Senior Brother. However, the cultivation of our 10,000 Buddha sect disciples is indeed very hard. Brahma heart paused for a moment and continued. Our 10,000 Buddhist sect disciples' cultivation goes through refining the mind, practicing the method, and refining the body. And for refining the mind we usually sit in meditation facing a stone wall to realize the state of the mind. Or we may sit on top of a river and realize that goodness is like water. These days are indeed boring. Little Gold nodded and gave Brahma Heart a somewhat sympathetic look. When practicing the Dharma, a group of us masters and brothers stay in the hidden scripture pavilion and cultivate seriously. Everyone can't make a sound. Refining the body is a must at all times, and we have to do a lot of labor every day, including digging mines, cleaning, and so on, all of which we have to do personally, Brahma said. Kangtia, Zijin, and Zhaolinga were dumbfounded. He didn't think that the 10,000 Buddhist sect would be like this. This wasn't quite like the second largest sect of the whole of honor. Mining and cleaning ... double quotes. Zijin was a bit speechless. In the Heavenly Tao sect, these were all things that outer disciples went to do, and they were still some lowly qualified outer disciples. Like those geniuses, they were given key cultivation and only needed to cultivate seriously. Little monk, I think you'd better return to secularism. Haha, Zhaolinga laughed. Brahmadin smiled bitterly as he said, "Not what you guys think. I like this kind of life. The path of cultivation. Sensing nature. This is the purpose of our 10,000 Buddha sect." Not bad. Kangtia nodded. A bright light flashed in his eyes, and said solemnly, "A single cultivation will always encounter a bottleneck. I will sometimes relax, but instead, I will sense more. Then you go digging and relax. Haha." Zhaolinga laughed playfully. Kangtia laughed bitterly, and was about to speak, when he suddenly straightened his expression, and took out a communication jade slip from his spatial ring. "It's Old Man of War looking for you." Zhaolinga instantly recognized the communication jade slip. Fandin and Zijin instantly silenced their voices. Elder War. That was a great person who stood at the top of the cultivation world. Not knowing what Elder of War was looking for Kangtia for, the three of them, Vandin, saw Kangtion's expression change, and then also sighed. A moment later, Kangtia put away the communication jade slip, glanced at the three of them, and said, "We really guessed right. There are indeed some old guys hidden near the Broken Dawn Immortal Mansion. There are a total of 6 of them, which are the 6 harmonization stage powerhouses from the Heaven's Path sect, the Devil sect, the 10,000 Buddhist sect, the 10,000 Demons Hall, the Poison sect, and the 100 Flower sect. It seems that from the time the Dawn-breaking Immortal Mansion came out, it's been dumped the 6 major sects in control." Vandin nodded without the slightest surprise, which made sense. Damn it, the Immortal Mansion was clearly dug up by this young lady. Wow. Pissed off this young lady. Zhaolinga was filled with anger. "Brother, what did Elder War say?" Zijin asked. "He shouldn't ask me to hand it over to the Heavenly Tao sect, right?" At those words, both Fandin and Zhaolinga looked at Kangtia. Kangtia shook his head and said, "Elder War let me choose for myself. He gave me 2 paths. One is to hand it over to the Heavenly Tao sect, and then the Heavenly Tao sect will compensate me for the 2 Kings' grade treasure artifacts and some contribution points. The other path is for me to keep it myself, but the Heavenly Tao sect won't help me out either. I can only rely on myself." "That's fair," Fandin nodded and said. "Che, what's fair? He's expecting that we don't have the means to enter the Immortal Mansion. Or else he wouldn't have expertised us with the harmonization stage powerhouses hidden near the Immortal Mansion, clearly letting us despair." Zhaolinga skimmed her mouth and said, "This is already considered good," Vandin said. Boom. Kangtia slapped the table and said in a deep voice, It seems that we can only think of a way by ourselves. If it's not possible, I'll just keep it until eldest brother or second eldest brother comes back. As for the first path given to him by Elder War, he rejected it without even thinking about it. To king-grade treasure weapons were indeed precious, but the dawn-breaking scattered immortal was a very powerful scattered immortal. In his immortal mansion, not to mention king-grade treasure weapons, even emperor-grade treasure weapons existed. How could its value be comparable to a mere to king-grade treasure weapons, when Kang Tiao's a fool are? In the dark cave, a piece of shadow stone flashes a touch of palpitating images. One of the images is very scary. That is a sea of blood. The sea of blood sleeps a mysterious existence that seems to be human and not human. He exudes a horrible aura. Even if it is through the shadow stone, it makes one's scalp numb. In the cave, in addition to the shadow stone, there was also a white-clothed young man, who was now looking incredulously at the picture in the shadow stone, his face becoming more and more grave, and finally filled with anger. Right at this moment, the image in the shadow-retaining stone changed, and a white humanoid radiance arrived by the bloody sea. "Sovereign!" The white-clothed youth cried out in shock, as if he had seen something terrifying, and his face was extremely heavy as he stared dead on at the white humanoid glow by the sea of blood. In the sea of blood, that mysterious existence was still sleeping, and did not awaken due to the arrival of the white humanoid glow. Soon after, the white humanoid glow departed, and a figure shrouded in golden light suddenly arrived, and with a wave of his hand, countless corpses appeared out of thin air and landed in the sea of blood. The sea of blood seemed to be replenished and boiled violently, and those corpses that landed in the sea of blood were gradually corroded and turned into pure blood water. The golden figure bowed to the sleeping being in the sea of blood and left. War. The white-clothed youth was once again shocked. His face was gloomy to the extreme, and a trace of fear even appeared in his originally deep eyes. At this moment, all the images in the shadow-retaining stone disappeared, and the shadow-retaining stone dispersed its light and fell to the ground, becoming a plain stone. The white-clothed youth waved his hand, and light erupted, and the shadow-retaining stone was instantly turned into flying dust. After doing this, the white-clothed youth's face was gloomy. His eyes landed on top of a huge stone in the cave, and he said in a deep voice, "Come out, in front of me. You have nothing to hide." The voice condensed into a line, and a terrifying sound wave impacted on top of the boulder, causing it to shatter, revealing a half-man-sized hole. Thud, with a strange sound, the dark hole flickered with two icy rays of light, like a wild beast hibernating inside, coldly gazing at the white-clothed youth outside. "Born with a sword body, your talent is good. If you can survive, there will be a place for you in the cultivation world in the future. Unfortunately, your master knows things he shouldn't know, and has harmed you as well," the white-clothed youth said coldly. Two rays of light flickered in the black hole, and then a sharp breath came to mind as a boiling murderous aura filled the air. "No need to worry." Feeling this killing intent, the white-clothed youth shook his head and said indifferently, "With your strength, there is no threat to me, and I won't be able to kill you because thanks to your blessing, I also know things that I shouldn't know." Speaking here, the white-clothed youth was somewhat helpless. As the words fell, the breathing in the black hole calmed down, but the two icy rays of light were still staring at the white-clothed youth. "Leave, go as far away as you can. It's best to leave the flood continent. Don't think about revenge. Even if you cultivate to the Mahayana stage, you don't have the strength to take revenge. Preserve your own life, for this is what your master's father is counting on." The white-clothed youth sighed softly and slowly stepped out of the cave, disappearing into the dark night. Half a second later, a youth walked out of the black cave, his face grimacing, his eyes flashing ferociously, as if he was a ferocious beast that chose to devour people. If Kang Tiao was here, he would have recognized this person, because this person was Shen Ti Yu Ya, the crazy warrior among the 7 warriors of the Great Tang Dynasty at that time. After a few decades, Shen Tuye was already a powerhouse. At the divine separation stage, his strength was unfathomable. However, at this moment, he was in a very sorry state. His body was covered in wounds, and his breath was weak. He took a deep look at the direction where the white-clothed youth left, then rose up in the air and headed in the opposite direction *******. Born with a sword body. .. Unfortunately, you know things you shouldn't know. In the dark night, the void shattered. A figure shrouded in black robes slowly appeared. He looked at the direction that Shen Tuye left, his gaze cold and filled with killing intent. Blade Butcher chose to betray. It seems that the law enforcement lineage will have to undergo a cleansing. .. The black-robed man said coldly. However, the words did not finish. His eyes shrunk and a flash of fear appeared on his face. Swish! In the darkness of the night, a brilliant blade light flashed by, carrying an aura that was cold to the core. Even though the black-robed man's cultivation had reached the harmonization stage, in the midst of this blade light, he could only be bound to die, his face full of despair. You ... did in single quotes tea leave ... The black-robed man stared with wide eyes and a face of despair. Cleaning. Want to move my law enforcement lineage, whoever it is, will die. The white-clothed youth tore through the void and came one step on top of the black-robed man's head. His expression was cold. His eyes were full of killing intent as his footsteps fell. The black-robed man's despairing face collapsed and blood plasma gushed out, but didn't wait for the spurt to come out, but it was frozen by a wave of extreme coldness, freezing it in this dark night. It's time to go back ... The white-clothed youth murmured softly, stepping out and disappearing into the void. In situ, the black-robed man's corpse was frozen into ice, and the dark night sky suddenly drifted with heavy snow, and the extremely cold energy, causing the area within 100 miles to be frozen. Heavenly Dao sect. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. Kangchons for people remained on the dark gold peak, cultivating while pondering or a plan to enter the immortal mansion. During this period of time, a lot of things had happened in the orthodox and demonic battlefield, with Devil Heaven, Ling Hongblood, Barbarian Wind and the others breaking through the divine separation stage, and had long since traveled to the 18 layers of hell. During the 5 years, Kangchon's progress was also very great. His own cultivation had long since been cultivated to the peak of the 9th level of the exhumation stage, and he could break through to the divine separation stage at any time. But in order to enter the immortal mansion, he had been suppressing his cultivation to not break through. Furthermore, after the Force Sun reached the Great Perfection realm, after 5 years of fumbling, he finally comprehended the second layer of the Force Arcane, Force Crack. Unlike Force Quake, Force Split's attack was extremely powerful, and if it was performed by combining Force Quake and Force Split together, with the 2 Arcana of Quake and Split added on top of the attack, the power would be multiplied. At this time, Kang Tia was able to fight even if he faced a divine separation stage Seal King powerhouse, and his strength ended up being terrifying. Of course, while Kang Tia progressed, the other 3 did not lag behind either. All 3 of Zijin's progress was very great. However, in order to enter the immortal mansion, Little Gold had also suppressed his cultivation, and had been researching Force Quake for the past 5 years, finally causing Force Quake to reach the Grand Completion realm. Fan Din and Zhao Linga had also cultivated to the out-of-body stage Grand Circle realm, but they were definitely much worse than Kang Tia and Zijin, and even worse than Ling Hongblood and Zhuan Steel back then, and could only be considered as average out-of-body stage Grand Circle. Like Kang Tia and Little Gold, they had also suppressed their cultivation, but they were too weak and somewhat unable to suppress it. so I'm afraid it would be difficult to support them for a few years. It seems like we need to enter the immortal mansion quickly, or else even I'll soon be unable to suppress my cultivation, and will have to break through to the divine separation stage. Kangxia sat under the waterfall and thought secretly. In the bamboo forest, Little Gold and Brahma Heart were imprinting the quake of force on each other. And under the influence of Kangxia and Little Gold, Brahma Heart comprehended the quake of force as well. Of course, Brahma didn't possess the 8-armed Vajra special bloodline, and followed the body refining stream, so it made sense that he comprehended the quake of force. Zhao Linga, on the other hand, comprehended the arcane mysteries of wind, and was so fast in terms of speed that even Kangxia couldn't compare. However, the outbreathing stage great perfection powerhouses would all be able to instantly move, so this speed seemed a bit ribald.